Is it worth spending time keeping software up to date? Hello, my name is Nelson Gray, and this is the Small Business Solutions Podcast, the show where we skip the high-level inspiration and get into the actual solutions straight from people running the business. Now, let's answer that opening question. It's a great question that I hear a lot of small business owners ask. Why patch things? If it ain't broke, why fix it? So it's a common phrase. I get it. But there's other variables involved that need to be considered because it's not like a car. This is something connected to a massive network of things. And teaser, it's not as hard as you think, time-wise and skill-wise. But I'll get to that in a bit. Let's first start with the risk itself. So there's two main risks involved when we're talking about not patching systems. The first one is being hacked. And I know a lot of people, I used to think this way in the past until I learned more about it and saw this a lot, of how I'm too small. Why would someone spend time trying to hack me when they could get someone like Progressive Insurance or get some baseball stadium or something like that where they have millions and billions of dollars? And the funny thing is, being small almost makes you more of a target because you're easier. You don't have a dedicated security team. And there's a few stats out there showing this. One of them is from Automox, and they say that 60% of data breaches are tied to unpatched vulnerabilities. Another one is from the Insurance Journal, and they say that 35% of global SMEs experience a cyber incident. And I'll be the first to say, how do you measure that? I'm skeptical when I hear these numbers as well. Because think of it, when a business is hacked, are they announcing it to the world or are they trying to keep it secret? Only when regulators get involved in like healthcare is it announced to everyone. We all get that thing in the mail saying you get free identity and protection for a year. But I will say right away, I don't trust the stats, but I thought I'd give it anyways because that's the best I've got number-wise. But anecdotally, a lot of us know people that have experienced it, and it isn't fun to clean up. And it sometimes can put you out of business. And it's just not worth it. And one more variable with the hacking, before I move on, is AI. And I know we hear AI all the time, but let me explain. AI is making it so it's even easier to find vulnerabilities for the good guys and the bad guys, especially the bad guys who you don't need as much skill and knowledge in the tech world. You just go to AI and the newest models are now between US and China. They now are trying to keep it secret, but they all have it now and they're hacking each other. And we are just the bystanders in this cyber warfare, trying for everything from crippling us to stealing our money to ruining all that stuff. And so even the vulnerabilities, I'm seeing reports where Microsoft has a ridiculous amount more vulnerabilities this year than last year. And that goes for all the different programs. It's just that's a very high visible one is Microsoft. So the first one is vulnerabilities. You've got malware risk and no one wants that. The other one is compatibility issues. And so not a lot of people are aware of this. And I've seen this over my years where your printer connects to email systems on your server, and then all of a sudden one day it stops working. And now you have to drop and figure out, why is that not working? Sometimes it's not an emergency. That's okay. You figure it out, you go on. Other times, your payment collection system at the front of your store is down, and now you got to scramble and figure that out because you can't get payment from your customers and you're only taking cash, and everyone's like, I only have a 20. And you don't want to be in that scenario. And so there's nothing malicious happening here. It's just the methodologies, and sometimes it's actually software trying to make it more secure will break it for everyone who just doesn't want to spend the time patching. It's very ironic, in my opinion. But there it is. So now those are two things of what's going on, of why you should patch. Now, let's get to the actual patching. So It's not as difficult as you would think. First, a lot of you have been ignoring that window saying that you need to restart your computer and install updates. Stop ignoring that. Go ahead and restart. It really is important and will save you a lot of hassle if you actually do it. The other one is your phone. The one issue for some people is they have so many screenshots they put on their phone and so many pictures that they don't have space. So I do agree you're going to have a little hassle to update that. But also remember your phone number, your email, your bank information, all that stuff is on your phone. Do you really want to leave that so that someone can just send you a text and hack into your phone? There are some vulnerabilities out there that if you haven't patched, all it takes is someone sending you a text and they got access to your phone. They text a malicious code that runs and then gives them a backdoor in. Every time I see that, I get scared and go and find that update as soon as I can. Every time I see that that's a new vulnerability that's out. That I feel like happens more than once. It's scary. And then, okay, so that's covering your Android and iOS devices. Sorry, Windows phones. Those are still not existent. Okay, so now the one that gets tricky is what if you have 10 computers across multiple locations? Or you just don't want to go manually to each one because you have like 3 or 4 of them. I totally get it. And on top of it, sometimes you may have other apps on your computer as well. Sure, you got Windows updates, but what about your Adobe Reader? What about your Zoom software or Chrome or that Firefox or your printer driver? Lots of different things that you don't even realize that you have. And because you got other things to do than keeping your software up to date. I get it. I'm no judging. I'm just pointing out all these little things that there's a reason you're too busy to think about. So there's a software called Action One. I'll say right now, I'm not sponsored by them. It's a tool I even use, and it's free. But everyone likes free. It's free for the first 200 devices. We are not their target market. So usually, if you do have 200 devices, thank you for listening to the show. But I'm more targeting the person with like 10 employees or less, and they are juggling 10 hats, being the accountants, being the salesperson, being the marketing guru, and having to manage their IT. And a lot of people are like, oh, IT scares me. I don't know how to update. It's okay. That's why Action One, in my opinion, really makes this easy. Basically, you set up an account. You put an agent, that's what they're called, the software. You put an agent on your computer, you basically download it, run it, so it's installed. And then on the web, you just click the device and then you see a scary list of all these programs you haven't updated. And the way I did it, I just select them all and update. And I'm like, let's see what happens. And I did have one of them fail, but it said it failed because I think it had something else had to be updated first before it could update the second one. So it was easy. So that is an easy way to do it once a month, I would say is good. If you just do it once a month, you are way ahead of most small business owners. And all those risks I was saying earlier, you just mitigated from. And one other thing I'd add is your methodology of updating. Now that we've established some tools of updating and the importance of updating, your method is important. And you don't want to do an update and break everyone. Sadly, the developers don't think through everything, and it's when someone breaks everything that then they go through and patch what they did. An example is there was one company called CrowdStrike where they would put they managed an important software for a huge amount of companies. They didn't test their software well, rolled it out to everyone, and they took down airlines, they took down hospitals, and it's kind of sad because that should be their specialty, and they took it down for everyone. So as a small business owner, here's how you do it. You take one station and say you have 3. If you have 3 stations, this is perfect. You take one station, you update it, let it run for 2 or 3 days. Let people use that for 2 or 3 days to either you're collecting payments or you're running your accounting or you're doing whatever you do. Then after that, you put it on the rest of them. You use action one or manually, whichever method you want to do, and just update the software on the rest of them, and you're good to go. So that's your way of it, kind of like a baking process. So you bake with one of them first, and then after it's done, you do the rest. And so that mitigates a lot of risk and saves you from all those different dangers I said earlier. So thank you for listening to this episode. And if this was helpful to you and gave you these tips were useful, please subscribe. I'm constantly, I've got lots of ideas and I'd love to share them to an audience. So please subscribe and share with a friend if you think there's someone else out there that could benefit from all this. And so now go solve problems, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.